Welcome back to the MotorFab YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm back. I've been away a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. Been really busy actually, I shouldn't neglect the channel because the channel is something that I started and it really helped me promote my brand and the business, and then that made us get really busy, as well as a few other things that I've done and were happening. And next thing you know, I've neglected YouTube, which helped open a lot of doors for me. YouTube's made it possible for me to work with some really cool companies and do some really cool things. So yeah, so my apologies for neglecting the uploads that so many of you guys really enjoyed each week. So I'm back now, and I'm gonna commit to being I won't promise you every week, but I will do my best to get a weekly episode up every week, and get back into it. And because we've got some really cool things happening, so I'll go over everything happening in the shop in a minute. Unfortunately, one sad thing's happening. I've sold the rat rod. No, I'm not broke. I'm not fire selling things. Yeah, I need the space. I'll go over that with you in a sec. And it's just time. A couple of things I've got to get rid of. Unfortunately, I don't like selling things off, but when you need the room, you need the room. When you don't have time to finish things, the things that are going to take the most time to finish, yeah, it's an easy decision to make. That's the first one on the chopping block. But yeah, it'll be good in the long run. It'll allow me more time to focus on cool things, and I'll go over with you in a second, as I said, what some of those cool things are that will definitely involve the channel. Hope you guys have had a good summer. It's been a little bit of an interesting couple of months for us, moving and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, it's all going good now, and we're up and running, and everything's pumping. It's going really good. So super busy. That's really cool. So also, I'll go over with you in a sec as well. Pulling the ute apart. We're gonna pull out the driveline and stuff to go in the Torana, which will be covering that build in its entirety and in a lot of detail. Something that helped me make the decision on that is yeah, we've been racing Warwick with the no prep stuff. That is so cool. I love going to Warwick. They've got a grant to redo the track, so it's getting resurfaced, getting extended a quarter mile. The facility is getting upgraded. So Warwick will be down and out for a good few months, I'd say. I don't know how long, but I don't think anyone really will know how long until they say, hey, we're open again. So there won't be any racing at Warwick for a while. So the ute was really fun to race no prep in, but I can't do that at the moment. It's got a few issues, as we've gone over on the channel, converter shocks, things like that need addressing. And rather than keep throwing money at it, it's to run a car that's pretty well tapped out at the times it's running. I'm just going to make the decision to pull the pin on it, turn it back into a street car, and that's be done with it. Steal all the goodies that I put into it originally that were going to go in the Torana sometime down the track. It's time to make that decision. It bought me my first 10, my first 9, my first 8, my first 7. Now I want to run a 6. Our car ain't going to run a 6, so it's a no-brainer to get stuck into the new car. And while the track's down, obviously we've got Willowbank still, which Kenda is what we mostly run there. That's got a couple of extra rounds in Sydney this year, so there's 1 or 2 rounds less up here, so there's less racing up here. And with the border closures and COVID and stuff, as a business owner, I'm not going to risk going across the border. Look what's just happening right now. It can blow up like that, and next thing you know, you're stuck in quarantine for 2 weeks. As a business owner, I can't afford that. So I'll definitely give that style of racing a miss for the year, and it's good timing. It allows me to focus on getting Torana done and achieving those goals that I've set out to do. So yeah, I'll run around now and go through everything that's going on, the characters of the show, really. All the cars, and we've got more tech tips and stuff like that coming from now on. So yeah, check it out. Enjoy this week's episode. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Right, shameless plug here, guys. Sorry about the lighting. I know the light bugs the camera in here. At the moment, we've got plenty of hoodies and stuff because it's hot. Now, as soon as it gets a bit cooler, these things sell out like crazy. Absolutely like crazy. So, and the problem with that is, so does everyone else's stock, and then I struggle to get stock to get printed. So if you get in now, while it's a bit warmer still, you beat the rush and get your cool MotorFab Junkyard Monaro hoodies. So just a tip, if you're going to wait till winter, they might get a bit hard to get. So order now, well, it's a bit warmer still, and we've got heaps in stock. Now, what have we got here? We got stubby coolers. These will mainly be for events, I think. So I think postage is a bit of a killer on the things, but they are on the website. If you really want one, grab one. If not, wait till you see us at an event. If we ever get to hold events again, but yeah, we got millions of those things. Hats, I don't think we ever ran the hats on the channel. They do sell pretty well on the website. We've got a range of colours. These are really cool. These are army trucker hats. They're on the website. Old traditional black. The grey ones are really cool too. I quite like the grey. I don't think I'm quite used to leaving everything all over the desk. My merchandise is where I put them. The grey truckers are really cool too. And for the ladies, we've got the pink ones. Some of the guys might like pink too, you never know. So there you go. So we've got heaps of hats in stock. Order them, get them while they're hot. I think that's all. Yeah, we just got boxes of backup merch there. So, like I say, shameless plug. Get your Motivated merchandise. It's on the website. You guys know how to do it. You buy it all the time. So check it out. Chevy. It's been up and around the shop, mate. Chevy's had a haircut, as you can see. Yes, looks younger and more sprightly. Let's go for a walk around and show what's been happening. The boat, not too many of you guys care about the boat too much, but had to rebuild the leg on it. Don't get boat, people. It's hard work. We won't go all the way out there, but truck, oh well. You guys saw the truck, I think, last episode when we did the front lift. Powder coated the front bar since. And I'm just waiting on the wheels. The new front end's wider, so I'm just waiting on the wheel spaces for the back to match width, and probably 2 inches, I think. What do you guys think? Say in the comments. Some people like the Cali Lane. I like it, but that may be a little bit too much, so I want to lift the back just a touch. And then that's the truck done. And let's go through the shop and go through what else has been happening around here. So I haven't kept you guys too up to date, but we're working on that. We are working on that. And the bug, bloody gosh, not a lot, but the bug's a bit of a fan of a few. I get asked about it all the time. I've actually been driving it a lot, pretty much daily. We drive it everywhere, but yeah, I've been taking it to a few car shows and car meets and stuff, and it draws a lot of attention. I've had a lot of cool cars over the years and been cruising with a lot of mates in cool cars, but it's just nothing. I don't know what it is with this bug, but people just love it. As opposed for what it is, it's a 1963. You'll see, still runs a wide 5 pattern with a Baja kit on it. To all the people that come up to me at the servo and say, nice Badger, it's Baja, you gooses. it's got a 1600 twin port motor in it, which thank goodness, because it's gone from absolutely ridiculously slow at like 36 horsepower to manageable at I think 71 or 72 horsepower or something. It still ain't fast, that's for sure, but it gets along, it's okay. Just a good, fun, cool little car. Idea was something cheap cruiser. I never painted the inside, as you can see. We got the fake grass flooring, and yeah, it just needs a bit of a tidy up still. Just knocked up a gay shifter handle for it the other day, because the thing with these cars, actually, this one's got a chassis. So normally that floor pan, thanks Chevy, that's my arm buddy. Normally this floor pan would bolt to the body of the car, but this one's actually got a chassis in between the two. What are you doing, mate? Hey? Keeps like my arm. So that lifts it up. I think it's 75 mil or something. And then it's got the front beam kit in the front of it as well to lift the front up. And the back was really high, it was stupid, so I got the VW guys to drop it down, because it's a bit of a process you go through with the torsion bars and their arms and stuff they got. I don't think it's hard, it's just not really my cup of tea. I just put the little Baja mirrors on it because it didn't have any mirrors, which was a bit of a pain in the ass, but there's the bug. It just does its thing, it's pretty much finished. I would love to put a rotary in it someday, but it's a bit of a junky old car. It's just cool to cruise in it. It owes me very little. The rat rod, I know there's a lot of fans of this thing. Me being number one, it's yeah, one of the coolest cars I've got, but I'm a long way from finished it, and it's looking a bit more together now than last time you guys saw it. We've actually sold it, and the guys coming to pick it up today, actually. So I sold it as was, but just me being me, I like to deliver these things as best they can be. So I've yeah, we spent a couple of days working on it, putting it, making it a bit more complete, and it's ready to rock and roll. I know some of you guys are really looking forward to seeing that build. But yeah, I don't have time with everything that's going on, and I don't have the space. I'm getting crammed in here, and it's hard to work on the cars. So that one's the furthest away from being finished, so it had to go. But yeah, we'll do another rat rod somewhere down the track. It's just one of those things. I'll be old and grey by the time I get to touch that one. Let's have a look. The VL, that's something that'll feature on the channel down the track, but it's just chilling for the moment. The Torana, this is the exciting part. I've said it before, but we'll go it again. I'm going to build this car on the channel next, like we did the Monaro. You'll see every fine detail of the little Torana. And sorry, I'm just putting some lights on. I'm going to build it in its entirety on the channel. Where it's up to now, I've documented all that video and photo, so I'll be able to add that in and take you guys right back to the start. And yeah, my goal is to build the car 100% myself. Well, in the shed, and I bought it drove in into the old shed, trailered over here. As a stock standard car. It had a blown head gasket, broken diff, and stuffed auto. I don't know how you destroy all three things on a crappy car, but yeah, so it did actually drive very briefly, and it was complete. So it's all cut apart now, and it's got the new chassis. But my goal is to build it in its entirety and run 6-second passes in it and document it all on the channel. So I know Cletus is building his 6-second car. Well, he's updating the shop that's building it. This one's a bit different because I'm gonna build the whole thing myself and document it all along the way, and obviously try to reach that goal of running a 6-second pass. So enough about that, you're gonna see plenty about that later. Here's the Monaro, the gem, everyone loves it, including me. Now, I've got a dyno date, I believe it's early next month, so I do just want to check the nitrous mixture because nitrous is very new to me, so I'd rather get that right before we blow the thing to smithereens. As I said right from the start, the trick to making a delicate engine with so many standard parts live is a good tune. So rather than just guess, I'd rather put on the dyno and creep up on it. I've got to change a couple of things. I used a deadhead reg for the nitrous, and it's very hard to adjust the fuel pressure and keep a consistent fuel pressure, which is apparently key on the nitrous setup. So yeah, so that's the Monaro. It's just getting a couple of little bits and pieces done, and then it's back to the track. So not really anything, just change that fuel reg. And it's had a couple of leaks I've got to fix up. The one was just the overflow bottle, so that's easy to fix. The fitting at the bottom was leaking. And I welded up the dipstick in the factory pan, so it doesn't have a dipstick, but I think that, yeah, I think they're brazed in from the factory, and I think the heat from the weld might have cooked the brazing a little bit, something, because it's leaking around where it's brazed there. So I gotta fix that. It's just in a prick of a spot with those pipes. And last but not least, bumping, the car that started it all. It's that's pretty much it for bumping. She's done. We're gonna pull that engine gearbox out and go in that Torana. And originally when I changed gearbox, I decided to buy a really overkill gearbox for this car with the intention that it was going in the Torana. See, it's got a bit rusty from sitting around. As with a lot of things, so eventually the Torana will be big block. But for now, it's just going to be small block and go out and have some fun with parts I've already got. So that combo, we'll make a few little changes to it. It's going to need to make a little bit more power than what it's making now to run my 6. But I'm confident that it can make that power. Possibly a turbo change, possibly not. We'll see how we go with that. But yeah, the actual engine itself will do it. It just needs a few little tweaks here and there to make some more power out of it. So there you go. So that covers the cars and what's happening. And there's going to be a lot more. We're getting a bit better set up in here now. So I've been running the press, so I've pressed up all the brackets, and I've got to do a lot more tech stuff with you guys because you really like that. And a lot more of the welding stuff. Suspension tips, which everyone's always asking for. But yeah, hit the comments up and tell me more what you want to see. And I'm going to commit to applying more time. Another bit of a shameless plug, guys, but the fellas from over at Moth Mounts came over the other day. It's a big fan of the channel, and they've dropped us over a heap of these cool products that they make. And these are a phone and tablet mount, so you can put that beside your lounge or wherever and stretch it out, put your phone or your tablet in it. And yeah, watch your YouTube channels, watch your Motorfab episodes of Motorfab YouTube channel on the couch without having to hang on to your tablet or your phone. You can just pop that anywhere, get nice and comfy. They dropped a heap of cool stuff over there. They bench mounts, these floor to ceiling, what are they? Floor mount things. Yeah, they look like they're really well made, great functional, and even pop it beside the bed so you can just hold it over in front of you while you lay down. I know sometimes when I watch YouTube videos in bed, I get a dead arm. So a pretty functional, cool little thing. They also work good as I think they'll be interchangeable, so you can run a camera mount on that as well, which is pretty cool thing because it's quite firm and sturdy, which I like. I've been stung with crappy camera equipment and mounts and stuff a few times now. But yeah, there you go. Go onto the Moth Mounts website. I'll chuck the link to their website. I think they're up and running. They're a very, very new company and a pretty cool new product. And really awesome guys. So check out their website. And I don't think these things are very expensive. So if you want to grab a cool robot arm to hold your phone or tablet while you watch YouTube, check these guys out. Righto, welding tech tip time. This is the good stuff, the stuff you guys have all been asking about all the time. It's probably something I get the most questions for. So here goes, probably still getting asked a fair bit, what welder should I buy? I get asked that all the time. So I'm gonna go right through a few of the welders here in the shop and show you different options, and yeah, you work out from there what you think is best for you. Righto, so shopping for a welder. Most people start with the small ones. This is my first TIG welder I ever bought. I've had it for about 15 years, and touch something wood, whatever. This little thing, it's on its last legs now, but it's actually the only welder I've got that's never been repaired. It just keeps keeping on. Now, this is a DC only machine, which is part of the reason why they don't die. The DC only machines, which is welding steel and stainless only, it doesn't do aluminium, are very, very reliable. Not a lot goes wrong. All they are is an AC to DC inverter, which is basically just putting out positive and negative, torch and earth lead. They're a real base, and administering gas with it. So this was only cheap. I think it was about $1,000 at the time, but now I think they're a lot cheaper. Basically, main current, does TIG or MIG. It does actually do pulse, but don't use it very often. And then you got your pulse frequency and your pulse width, which is just how much it varies on the pulse. And then your base current. So when your pulse, it goes down, hits the base current, it comes up. It's the pulse width, and the pulse frequency is how often. Pulse frequency is how often it pulses. Pulse width is how long it pulses for. Base current is what it pulses down to. Main current is what it pulses up to. That's it. So this welder doesn't have adjustable gas post flow, and it doesn't have upslope and downslope, and no high frequency adjustment. So it's pretty basic, but it still does a good job. Now, people say they see nice welders. Oh, yeah, but he's got a nice welder. At the end of the day, okay, this machine doesn't do aluminium. We'll go through the others that do aluminium. We'll go from this one a few stages up to this bad boy. The job that they punch out will be the same. They do the same thing. It's just that if you're using this every day in a commercial environment like we are, it will die. The high frequency setup in that is cactus. You've adjusted it till it's just worn out. You've got to scratch it. So this is sort of your secondary up. The cheapest TIG welder you can start with is a small DC machine that will be what's called scratch start or lift start. So to get the welder to start, you've actually got to scratch it on the job or lift it off the job. This one used to throw a spark, but the high frequency is dead, so you've got to scratch or lift start it all the time, which is pretty common for them to wear out. So the one, don't buy a scratch start or lift start, buy a high frequency start. It's just a much nicer job. You won't be sharpening the tungsten half as much. So that's your basic. If you're not doing aluminium, that's where you start. Very reliable machines. I don't know these days what the Chinese quality ones are like. This one here, we just use as a backup now. This has been repaired that many times, this thing. It's a Weldmaster. They were a reasonable brand back in the day. Yeah, it does aluminium and steel, AC and DC. Now it's got, this one's pretty, definitely up there with adjustability. AC, DC, you got your pulse, you got your TIG and MMA. 2T, 4T, so you can push the button and have it so it's set, so you push the button to turn it on and then push the button again to turn it off, or push and hold the button to keep it. You've got pre-flow on this machine, peak current, basic current, downslope, arc force, pulse frequency, pulse duty, so that's for your pulse obviously, same thing again. Clean area bandwidth is always for the AC, that's like your balance, some welders call it, and then you've got gas post flow down the end there, so you can fine tune a bit more. That welder, like I say, we don't use it that much now. It sits there as a backup for when one of the other ones breaks, and it has broken down a lot, let's be honest, but it is what it is. It's getting old. This machine here we use a lot, probably the most out of the shop. This is an Everlast machine. This is a 3-phase. The first machine we looked at was 200 amp. The second machine we looked at was 200 amp, and this one is there's a sound there somewhere. It's a 256 amp machine. So yeah, it's got a few more setups with your pulse. Yeah, AC/DC mode, obviously that's all the same. Select TIG current 6, same thing. Pulse. Your remote, which is just your 2T, 4T. Just they call them different things, arc force. So frequency balance. Yeah, it's all pretty much the same. Post flow, pre-flow. This one's got upslope and downslope, which is good, and start amps and end amps. So those extra features will give you give you a nicer job. Just you start your weld a bit cleaner, you finish your weld a bit cleaner. So you'll definitely get a bit nicer job. These machines, they can be hit and miss with reliability. You get a good one, they last really well. This is probably my 5th one of these machines. So yeah, they definitely don't last forever when you're using them in a commercial environment like we are. Something else that's very handy with these, you'll see here PSI okay to cut minimum. So they'll often have a little pressure sensor in, so that you don't push the button when the gas is turned off and smoke the tungsten. But if you keep pushing the button, they will smoke the tungsten anyway. But yeah, so it helps out sometimes. So yeah, so it's a good little machine. Now, water coolers can be quite dear, so I actually made my own. This got a ripper of a fan on this welder, and yeah, coming out it's not usually too hot. So this is an old transmission cooler that I've round up to a little box that we made. It's got all my old entrance stickers on it from different races. And then down in there's a water pump. So that pumps water around through that cooler fan. It used to have its own fan, but it's got lost somewhere along the line, and the fan off the back of the welder seems to blow it along just fine. People get fixated on whether the machine's water cooled or not. It's not the machine that's water cooled, it's the torches. You can put water cooled leads and torches on any machine really, so you don't necessarily have to be a water cooled machine. Now you're jumping up. I mean, the first welder, I think these days they're about $500 or $600 off eBay. The second welder we looked at there, these days you're probably buying for about $1,600, $1,700, $1,800, something like this. You're getting up around that $2,500 mark. But yeah, obviously a bit more adjustment on that. It's 3-phase, it's 256 amps, whereas the old Weldmaster's only 200 amps. Still a pretty beefy machine actually. I think that probably goes as hot as the other one anyway, the way they rate them. And then you come over to, obviously I can't remember what retail on these things are, but they're bloody expensive. And yeah, it's no flash digital gauge or anything like that. She's made in the USA, and yeah, and for that reason they're just robust and they don't fault. So that's the difference in the cost. I'm not sure what they are now, but I think back in the day these things used to range between like 8 and 10 grand new. It's a very expensive welder, but this will weld all day, every day for its entire life. That's what you're paying for. There's no fancy adjustments that the other welders don't have. It's just that and it won't do anything nicer than the other welders will. It's more robust and it's built to last, and they're bloody heavy. As you can see, it's got a pull on the top to lift it. It's not easy to maneuver around the workshop, but there you go. So if you're just doing panel and stuff like that, start with something like that. Make sure you get high frequency. If you want to do a bit of aluminium, like I say, I'd probably save the extra pennies and sort of try to jump away from something like that, because they are prone to failure. If you start using a bit and try to get into something like this machine, ideally keep your eyes peeled. If you can find one with a decent history that you know it hasn't had the guts smoked out of it, try to buy like a Kempe or something like that. It's, you know, not Chinese. That's got a decent reputation that it will last. You for the price of one second hand, you might get you know, something that you can't afford brand new. They're sort of $4 or $5 grand. A lot of those Kempes new, but you might pick one up for say $2 grand second hand. Might be a better alternative for the home handyman. It's just gonna last forever then. So there you go. It's a bit more about the welders themselves, and then we'll get more into the tech tip stuff and technique and that as we go. I know this segment was very popular, so I'll try to keep it happening.